Welcome back, guys. Same day we shot episode 11.
Well,
But
this
this
is
is-
episode 12.
This is 12.
I'm Brendan.
Still Jay and
We have a very special guest today.
very special guest.
Hello. This is
Rad-
Bhanu.
A rather powerful man.
Rather, very, very powerful.
Oh no,
It's we have Bhanu Chopra of Revolution.
Most known in the watch world for being the prestigious editor-in-chief at Revolution Watch Magazine.
That's right.
yeah. I wouldn't call them. I have all my friends in the lowest places. That's how I roll.
Bhanu says
That's
that.
why he's on
That's
the show.
why he's here.
That's why he's here,
But I'm
guys.
here,
He's coming down to play in the mud with us.
I don't play in the hot. hot world. I keep it. I want to keep it real because this luxury world is a crazy world.
full of smoke and mirrors.
Posers and
And then here we are.
You gotta keep it real.
We're keeping it real here
keeping it
in
real.
Austin, Texas. By the way, what's Bhanu drinking, man?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a little Texas beer. Devil's Backbone.
Real
It's
ale.
delicious.
It is. It's
Excellent.
Belgian style. And for me and Brendan, we have a fresh bottle of Korean liquor,
Nice.
soju.
You gotta do a shots of soju.
And you want to do a wrist check going
Yeah,
around?
I guess we'll do a wrist check. What have you got on you, Brendan?
Well, I just have my Orient Chrono Ace. They made it only for a few years. It's the one that I've talked about before.
Is that the one that has the depth gauge?
Yeah, it has the depth gauge on it, and yeah, it's a fun piece. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I love the case. I think that case shape is really cool. I think it's making a comeback. By the way, you see it on other brands as well doing this case shape now. It's fantastic. I love it on this NATO.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You
Nice.
heard
I'll
that?
go next. You heard that?
You heard
That's
that?
from Bhanu.
That's from Bhanu.
So today with me, I'm wearing, or rather, I have it on the table. I have the Cartier Santos Medium. Big fan of it. I've liked it since I got it, and actually, I liked it before I even got it. It was because of Bill, who we had on the podcast during the one chip challenge that we did as an episode. That was the seal the deal episode 9.
I think 9.
Episode 9, I was like, okay, I really need this. Then same Monday I got it. Here, cheers. Cheers to
Cheers.
to keeping it real.
Yeah. So still, we are talking about Cartier. I think that this watch is fantastic. First of all, and some of the hottest watches right now. You hear Rolex, Patek, and all these guys. Cartier is running hot slowly.
Yep.
I mean, people don't realize that. You try to go buy a Cartier or you try to buy some of their pieces, dude, impossible. They're so hot right now.
Yeah, especially the tank. The colored
Any
tanks.
of the tanks, yeah.
Red, blue, green. Impossible to get.
Oh, those are
One of our boys has
Yes,
all
he
three of
has all
those.
three.
The full
Peter,
set.
Peter.
He cheated. Peter cheated.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely cheated on that
Cheat.
one. Come on now. But what do you have on, Bhanu? It's a very special
I
piece.
just received this last week from Kudoke before they went on their vacation, so they shipped it out. I changed out the strap yesterday. It's a Kudoke 2. I love this. So it's got a ruthenium dial. If you go outside in the sun, it's more silverish gray, and it seems darker here. It's one piece. That's it. It's their only dial for this.
Piece unique.
Yes.
Guys, we are in a room with a piece unique watch.
Wow. And a
Jesus.
prototype hand
There's
heart.
And a
Proto-
prototype hand heart and another FliegerFriday released by Tutima, which we'll cover the FliegerFriday stuff in a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Kudoke by itself is definitely
I'm independent crazy. I love independent brands, and I think there are a lot of independent brands out there. You don't have to spend $100,000 or even $50,000. You know, yes, you can go buy an MBNF if you've got the fuck you money. You can sure, why not? Just fuck you to everybody and go buy that piece, or you could just earn like all of us. You know,
normal
working
Yeah.
every day, and then you spend the $8,000, $10,000 on a watch that you
and still get the
pay
experience
for 1 year and get the same experience. Exactly.
Yeah, because I remember that you like spent a lot of time
Yeah.
meeting with them.
It was 1 year. This took.
Yeah, it was like a project, dude. Where I remember when he was starting it, because he was posting it in the group, that like he was meeting with them, grabbing beers with them, and in the planning phases into like the production, and into finally getting it, and it's.
That's a fun.
So
that's what the watchmaking is all about. It's not about lay down your black Amex and go pick up a couple of Passaics. It's about.
So after having this piece, is the Longo one still your
Yes.
Grail watch?
That is a Grail watch, and I literally have to tell you, I had to amputate my left arm to get that watch. I sold maybe a lot of pieces.
Are some of those pieces did you sell
He
to
sold-
Saul?
yeah.
You sold some. Just don't want
Yeah.
a price check. He told me you sold it to him for 15, and he said he couldn't go lower than that. I just wanted to
Better call Saul. That's all I can tell you.
Saul, I knew you little skimmer. We got him. We caught him, dude. We caught him live.
But yeah, the Longo
Better call
one, man.
Saul.
The Longo one, when Bhanu got it.
Yeah, and the longer one has something to do with this issue, the summer issue of Revolution.
We're tying it in with Revo.
Vey wrote an article about Longer One.
Yeah, I read
it was
it.
pretty emotional article. It's about falling of the Berlin Wall, and nowadays you see it in the news that has a lot of connections. Right now again the whole East is happening again. So this is after the fall of Berlin Wall. This whole story about Walter Lange and Gunther Blumen, and they went and did this thing together.
Built it from the ground up again.
Absolutely, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah, that's a hell of a wrist check to start.
That was probably one of the best wrist checks we've had.
I mean, a piece unique is pretty up there as far as the wrist checks we've had.
It's pretty baller. Yeah, we wanted to, thank you for coming on the show, and we wanted to talk about, I don't know.
You can explain a little bit of what Revolution is, because
Okay.
Our market isn't necessarily the people who probably have a subscription to Revolution.
Although I wouldn't say no. I don't know, Revolution. It's funny how everything gets interconnected. I came across Revolution when it was born because I was in Singapore for this one event by Hourglass. It was called the Tempus event.
Tempus?
Yeah.
TEMPUS, right?
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
This was
That's
in early
a throwback.
2000s. Yeah. So I met Vey over there and a few other guys from Revolution, Suzanne Wong. Dude, they were just starting out. And, Revolution at the time when it started out was our crowd. They had titties out there in the magazine. and it was all about, tits and ass and watches on top. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. That was Revolution, and then of course after some time it mellowed down. Now it's all about being geeks. We are watch geeks, and let's just be watch geeks.
So yeah, Revolution is started in 05, right?
Yeah,
By
05
in
by
Singapore, and now it's developed to being one of the most influential watch editorials in the world.
Yeah, it's
not the
there's
one.
Latin America, Mexico, there's Middle East, there's Asia edition, there's
It's like
edition
7
in Europe,
of them,
in
right?
Italy. So it's everywhere. Russia, yeah.
Yeah, man. In this episode, we're gonna do a little dive into Bhanu,
Yeah.
All right.
We do a little life story dive.
the
then
blogger.
we're gonna take it back and have you talk about your takes on the present day industry and how it's going.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And different writing specific
but
questions
don't be
as well.
surprised if I have something to say about present day industry.
Oh no, we want that.
We want it.
We want that.
The,
So,
emotionally
just as a quick
charged
heads up,
response.
Bhanu, the blogger, the writer, family man, and most importantly, you're what?
My knight in shining armor, who's
right.
going to unban me from Watch You Seek Sales Corner.
He's banned from there.
I speed posted.
That can be done.
Wow! Yeah, you hear that?
Yeah, we can be done.
Yeah, then
That's
we're
cool.
gonna talk about a little bit about the watch industry, which honestly nowadays I feel that true collectors hate, just because
Right.
it's not a collector's market anymore. It's just a rich kids playground.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
It stopped being for the collectors by the collectors and is now by the brands for
Like
the
what
rich.
you were saying in episode 10 when we were going over we had a new guy take a Dufresne watch, and he was telling us about the pure joy of having a watch on his wrist. And Jay made a comment like, "Hey, I can't feel the same
way
anymore."
Yeah.
Like, I don't get excited about new purchases because of the games that you have to play. It's not the same.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's funny that one of the events, and I'll leave everybody's names and everything out of the picture. I attended an event in New York with collectors, and it was a dinner, and we were sitting, and it was a round table, which I was, there were about 7 other people in the table. And I had my Habering.
I love the Habering.
The Habering Felix pilot watch.
Yeah.
Simple watch. It's a small 37 millimeters. Looks pretty simple. And everybody had either AP, Rolex, mostly AP and Rolex. And they were just talking money. They're like, one guy said, fuck it. If I walk into AP boutique, just buy me anything. I don't care what I buy. I'll put my card down. I'll buy it.
The spirit isn't there.
Dude, that's not watch collecting.
Yeah, you're just buying an investment. Like, bro, just go to real estate. Leave this hobby to us.
Crypto or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that, but yeah. That company, Habering. Yeah, they put out an annual perpetual too, right?
They do.
They did for less than 20 or something like that.
Yeah, because Richard Habering, he used to work as a consultant for IWC. He was part of IWC because he came with the 3711 pilot's watch, the Doppel chronograph, and Retropant or Doppel chronograph, and then of course Gunter Blum, going back to Lange 1, brought him to Lange, and he did complications for them. So he was building turbulence and other complications, and then he met his wife right next door at Glashütte Original, and then they decided to move to Austria and start up their own brand.
We wanted to talk about your life story, because you were born in New Delhi. Right?
That's correct. Yes.
But you moved around a lot, right? You were in the U.S. and Europe.
Yes. So I was came here as a teenager to U.S. and then lived most of my life in Arizona. So I would consider myself, my adult life and home as Arizona. And from there, moved to Prague for 4 years, and then from Prague came to Austin. So this is my 11th year in Austin.
Wow. And how has that traveling, affected your journey with watch collecting?
It's greatly influenced because when you move to Europe, it brings you closer to brands. So I have to tell you, literally, this was my routine sometimes. At the place I worked was a multinational, big multinational. The guys who were working there, the execs and stuff, you would take them in a van, you rent a van, and go to Glashütte Original or go to Lange on a Friday. It's 45 minutes drive from Prague to Glashütte. Back in those days, there was no freeway. The freeway was kind of still being built. It was 1.5 hours drive. So that was Fridays. And then on weekends, you would roll out on Sunday, where do you want to have a coffee? Let's go to Glashütte or let's go to Berlin. And you'd go to a Wimpy store or go to some stores or meet some watchmakers.
So you met a lot of folks.
Yeah, you meet a lot of folks.
Yeah,
and
seems
then
authentic.
From Phoenix, it was no problem living in Arizona. I had an opportunity. Luckily, touch wood, I traveled a lot then, so you'd still meet a lot of watchmakers.
And when did you start the Watch You Seek writing?
What You Seek was early 2000s. And the first time I met somebody face-to-face from What You Seek was Mike Stufler. We are still best friends. I met Mike Stufler, I think, in 2004. But I've been part of What You Seek, participating as a forum members early 2000, late 90s. And then started writing in 2005. Ernie, who used to own What You Seek before it got sold to this Canadian company, Vertical Scope, he's like, why don't you actively participate and write? So going to Baselworld since 2005 was
Rest
until
in peace.
2019. And
Rest in peace,
I was
Baselworld.
hoping to make it my 15-year anniversary, but
no.
fuck Baselworld. These guys, man, they just
cared about the money, man.
yeah, that's it.
So do you consider yourself were you a writer first or more?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you have professional, like, did you go to school or anything for writing?
I did not go to school for journalism, no, but I always liked creative writing. Since I was growing up in India, creative writing is part of your, it's just part of your upbringing. And I love creative writing. Combine the passion of creative writing, I would say, with the passion of watchmaking.
That's awesome.
And when you were a kid, you were really into sci-fi, right?
Yeah, a lot into sci-fi. I've got a lot of robots at home still.
What sci-fi robots we're talking about? We're talking about
Gundams, you name it.
Voltron, Mazinger Z.
Did that lend itself into getting into watches somehow, like the technical aspects?
The technical aspects. I think that mechanicals is what makes it more fun. And I know right now we are living in a digital world. There's nothing we can do about it. And recently I was test driving a car with a friend who was looking into buying an Audi, and the whole fucking screen was digital on the Audi.
Yeah,
dude, you're not driving a car. You're driving what is this thing? I mean, this is it takes the spirit out of a car. You need
takes
to have
out the soul.
steering wheel. You just took the soul out of the car. I mean, I understand that it makes it you can more efficient, electric and all that bullshit, but still, you're taking the soul out of a car. Yeah. It's the same. The digital world that they have converted into is, I prefer the analog world.
So as someone who's kind of super big into like tech and stuff, do you ever wear an Apple Watch?
I did wear an Apple Watch when my wife was pregnant 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, because of counting steps, and we would go walking. And since then, that was the only time I wore it. That Apple Watch has been sitting in the drawer catching dust. And my phone keeps reminding me that, hey, your Apple Watch is not connected to your phone. I'm not bringing that watch out.
It knows about your Apple Watch.
By the way, I didn't wear it on my this wrist. I wore it on my right wrist.
Mm-hmm. So I tried that. Wristing. I actually did the whole double
wristing.
Apple Watch on the right wrist and then normal watch.
Yeah. So now what I see is, and this is what I would have done if it was available at that time. Now you can convert it into a pocket watch. So there's like a thing that you can put the Apple Watch into a pocket watch. I would do that. I would put that in my pocket, or I would wear it like a
necklace.
A necklace, and because you can take a phone call and stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it does, and it keeps like track of like your schedules and stuff.
Yeah, that would be the biggest reason for me to wear one. If I had one, just because I'm always zoned into my work, and so when a meeting comes up, I never pay attention. And I'm like, oh crap, I have a meeting. I'm like, so it would vibrate your wrist and all that.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're doing.
That's cool. Actually, so I got a question.
Yeah.
So I know that the whole FliegerFriday thing was big, and it's thanks to you.
Yeah. No, that was a passion project as well.
So
still is.
Can you talk a little bit regarding the whole FliegerFriday thing?
Yeah.
Because it's a phenomenon.
Yeah, so FliegerFriday started as a fun thing with Mike, myself, and a photographer, an attorney based in Prague. His name is Andra. He's Tempus X.
Oh, he's Tempus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Tempus X on Instagram, and Mike Stufler is also on there. So all three of us, we would visit every summer. We would go visit Stova. We would go visit Hanhart, and we're like, we're visiting, but what the fuck are we doing? I mean, we see them every year.
For yourselves, yeah.
So we should do something fun. So one day we decided, and this was, let's do something called FliegerFriday edition. I have a FliegerFriday site. We would write a lot about it. Now Mike is contributing a lot more than I am because I'm more busy with Revolution. So we decided, let's do a FliegerFriday edition. But we didn't know what we wanted to do. So one day at the Wind Up event in New York, the Worn & Wound guys, Zach and guys, they throw a really nice show in New York. By the way, everybody should visit.
San Francisco is this April.
This April is San
Francisco. We're going.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
So Wind Up event, Wind Up Watch Fair, we were there, and Jorg was there, and I was there, and we were drinking that night till 4 a.m. in the hotel, and we were like, you know what? Let's do some collaboration with FliegerFriday in this thing. So we were drawing on the napkins the FliegerFriday edition so we could remember the next morning. And it turned out that we did 25 watches. They were sold out in like
Like that.
like minutes.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of FliegerFriday. Since then, we did with Hanhart, Dekla recently, 2 watches with them, and then Tutima we did as well. The chronographs, those were also sold out. There's 2 more coming up this year. One with Laco and another one with Hanhart.
Laco. That's amazing. I mean, the whole FliegerFriday thing, because I remember I'm rather new onto the watch Instagram thing. I mean, I joined probably towards 2016, 2015. So it's towards a few years before the demise of the watch industry, essentially.
Right.
And I've always seen the FliegerFriday. And not only that, because I also had friends who would post on FliegerFriday. I was like, what the fuck is FliegerFriday? Checked into it and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love pilot watches. And it introduced me to the IWC Mark 13.
Yeah.
Which was my first IWC. And I was like,
That's awesome.
I can fucking join it now.
Yeah, it's just a belonging. You know, it was a play on like Speedy Tuesday, because Speedy Tuesday has been there for such a long time. So we said, you know, we want to do something with pilot watches, so let's create a hashtag FliegerFriday, and then we created a site FliegerFriday, and that's how it happened. You know, this is not I wouldn't say it's a new idea or something we created. It was a fun thing, and it still is a fun thing, by the way. It's nothing. We don't monetize off of any of this stuff. I don't get paid on any of these editions. No.
You don't?
No.
Fucked
It's
up,
passion.
dude. I would.
I think Jay Wood was thinking.
You're
dollar signs.
saying Jay would, like you wouldn't.
I am better than that.
Ah.
I wanted to kind of gear a few questions towards your writing, and I've noticed in a few interviews you've identified yourself specifically as a blogger and not as a journalist. What does it mean to be a blogger and not a journalist?
Absolutely. Great question. And I think it's something I'm very, very passionate about, that there are people who went to school, were serious journalists and do investigative reporting, do you know, what a journalist does. You see it on screen, or what you read on New York Times. And, you know, like Beth Dorr and these guys, they went to journalism school. They're serious journalists. And mine was just out of creative writing passion. People who call themselves journalists, you know,
It's like a discredit if you
it's
claim
like
to be one.
me walking around with a stethoscope and saying I'm a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not a
right.
doctor. I just play one on the TV. You know? A blogger is. There's nothing wrong with a blogger. It's not a derogatory term. It's just blogger. I'm proud to be that, because you know, that's what we do, creative writing. You can be a brilliant writer and not be a journalist. But people who are journalists, they deserve the credit.
And so you started off writing digital for Watch You Seek, but also print at the same time with Revolution. So
When did you start, I guess, writing print?
Revolution was about a year ago.
Okay.
And before that, I was doing some articles for Quill and Pad, and I was writing. I was regular there.
Okay, so it's mostly.
I really admire. You know, there's 2 people I admire in the watch industry for writing. Of course, there's a lot of people who do brilliant writing. You know, like I mentioned before, Suzanne Wong,
Logan.
a lot of people do, but I think I love Wei's writing because he makes it emotional.
Yeah,
He's passionate about this thing. He's one of those guys. He can be stone cold high and at the same time narrate to you every detail of reference and pathics, and you know, that doesn't come with studying something. It comes natural to you.
That's emotion.
That's emotion, and he can narrate and he can put a story around it. To me, that's brilliant. Same thing for Beth. Beth is on the other spectrum. You know, she writes technical stuff, and she's a true what I call a journalist. So both of them, I'm like somewhere in between with creative writing between them. I like the story part and I like the technical part. So I'm learned from both of them.
Pulling from best of both worlds, baby.
The world's the yin and the yang. And so what is the difference now that you've experienced print and digital? What's the difference between writing for digital versus print?
I think that's another great question. Digital writing is more targeted. I would say more targeted with, it doesn't require as big a thinking. You know, what are you going to do with the long form of what they call long form journalism? A lot of, 17,000 words articles, 10-page, 16-page, 20-page articles. In digital, you're saying, okay, people only have this much attention, and you know, their attention span is, you can read it for maybe 3-4 minutes and let's just keep it to that. So you keep it to 500 words, 1,000 words, 1,500 words is really the max. You're pushing the limit of digital at that point. So you keep the articles more geared towards. The second difference is in print journalism, you can tell stories. You can tell the story about a person, about a thing. There's a lot of stories in here.
Oh yeah.
In digital, I think you do more reviews. I think that's people when they have the free time in between the meetings or whatever. Hey, I like this hunt hard. I want to see what anybody else
Give
is
me
saying
quick
about
information on
And
it.
I mean that's the reason that they include the amount of time it would take you to read the entire review.
Yes, like 15 minutes.
It's usually like 3 to 5.
3 to 5, I think. Yeah,
3 to 5 is the
5
sweet spot for digital writing because they only have you for like that because it's so fast paced. Where as you get into print and like Bhanu said, like you read stories, man. And
it's a different, I guess, audience.
Like I take time
expectation
out of my day on like Sundays. It's a disconnect. I would go outside, sit with my dogs, and read. And that's a time where you give it to yourself. Whereas if I was to like look up a review, it's like, oh, I'm looking at Ariel, like I'm looking at a blog to watch example, and it tells you it's like, oh, it'll take you 5 minutes to read this.
Right.
I'm wondering too the feedback system, right? Like online, there's a comment section.
Correct.
It's instant feedback. With print, how do you get your feedback?
We get it a couple of ways. One is I mentioned we go to collectors events, and there when people say, "Oh yeah, Revolution magazine," I'll hey, this is what I think about the magazine, and then of course I publish my email in here, so people can comment, they can send comments. And now what we started doing, this was the idea of our UK editor-in-chief, Ross Povey, great guy by the way. If you ever want to learn anything about vintage Tudors, current Tudors, Rolex, he's the guy. Man. He's a Tudor watch guy.
Okay.
And he came up with the idea, let's include QR codes in here. So now what we do is you can just scan off a QR code and then you can go digital.
In that line of talking about editorials, I notice a lot of them are now, either partnered up or selling directly watches. Is that because it's hard to make revenue as editorial?
Yeah, like I just said, we did, this 5 watches of FliegerFriday. Let's just say if I did want to get paid, I would probably get paid $5,000. I don't think you can make a living off of, I'm just saying, if I were to get paid, yeah, unless I was making these watches myself or buying them from for brand and then reselling them, then it would be the same thing what everybody's doing right now. So yeah, retail or...
How does that affect the editorial? When you start selling, partnering with different brands, marketplaces.
Just look at Odinky, man. LVMH?
Yeah. So I think the way...
Is there a right way to do it, you think?
It's difficult. And this is a part of the modern watch collecting media. The line is blurring. And I'm not sure if I like that. But what I do like is doing limited edition or partnership with brands. It's fine. So you only have to talk about the watch that you created, and that's why you like it, rather than, let's say they just recently, Revolution came up with a Chopra watch that you saw on Instagram, that smoking hot watch. I wish I could afford that watch.
Fucking hot. Have you seen it?
Oh my God, it's really
nice.
Good. It's a sector dial.
Hard.
Yeah. And it's the Luke version of it, but I think it's the high-end Luke
little
version
baby micro rotor.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, bro.
And so, I was trying to think about it. Do I like all Chopra watches, if you ask me?
Or just that one specific?
Or just that one specifically that we partnered with them to create. So yeah, you have to keep a distance, but it's a very blurred line right now, if you would ask me.
With the lines being blurred, I think that makes it a little bit difficult, especially for someone like you who's
absolutely
in the industry.
Yeah. So for example, we'll take another edition right here.
The Hublot.
Hublot is on the cover, and Hublot is on the cover, and Hublot, as you know, with the watch collectors, they have an issue with Hublot. And how do you address that? You talk about the part where it's actually cool. If you look at some of the Hublots, for example, they did a certain collaborations.
Sang Blue.
Sang Blue is
my favorite one.
Exactly. So there you go. Those you have to focus on the editions that you like.
Not the entire brand in its entirety, because it's gonna fall.
There are
deaf
Hublots
ears.
that are running 7750s and charging 12 grand.
Oh yeah,
you don't
that's
have
what
to
they
agree
were
with those.
famous for, man.
Yep.
That's why they got such a bad rap with the watch community, is that they were charging AP pricing for
Exactly.
a 7750.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I said it's a tough line to follow. It's not easy. And then the brands invite you to trips. They shower things upon you. They do all the stuff. You just have to be be careful.
We would be bought like nobody's business.
Yeah.
They would be like flying us to like ski trips and shit. We'd be like, oh, we love this.
God, I'm getting drunk off the thought.
I'm getting high off
Yeah,
the
high
thought
off
of it.
the thought of it. No.
And see, this is the thing. That's why I have people I
That
love
keep
in
you
the
grounded.
low places, and I would like to stay grounded.
Yeah.
Literally grounded. I don't like to fly with, yeah.
If you're a brand and you want to fly us first class to a ski lodge, all expenses paid, by all means.
Well, no, to our credit, though, we do keep it real.
We do keep it real.
When we had the micro brand episodes, we didn't pull any punches.
Yeah,
we told
actually,
it how
right.
it was, what we didn't like, what we liked, and that's just how it is. So
And
You
I
have
think,
to keep the authenticity, otherwise it gets
no,
muddled.
you have to be authentic, but at the same time, nowadays things are a little bit different. Before you had Basel World, where everybody came to the brand and I could look at the brand. I don't need to go to an event because I saw the watches in person. Now, how do you see watches in person? Either you go to retailer, and Austin is not a big market for all the brands, and then you have to go to one of these events, or have them fly you out to go check out their watches. That's the only option you got.
Because like with the whole editorials thing and like selling watches and partnering, like I wasn't always a Hodinkee like hater, you know what I mean? But like with the lines blurred and like them not being exactly as open and as forthcoming about what brands are.
I'll give you an example, okay? And I love Hodinkee, by the way. Just yesterday, I was like, you know what? I think it was Friday night. Yeah, I was sitting Friday night. I was like, let me just visit Hodinkee, and I want to read the latest articles. Every day you can't go there. Usually I use Watchwheel to read the articles. So I went there. The very first article was Glashütte Original. I think it was Panamatic Lunar. It was Panamatic Lunar.
That's right.
And they would, they're like, not all dates are bad. And it was a nice article with the angle of, dates. And this is the reason it's not bad. Even though it's an asymmetrical date, it doesn't matter. They were recently became a reseller for Glashütte Original, right? So obviously you're pushing it a little bit. So it came across as an article for, hey, all dates are not bad, but it's really underlying condition is
kind of like an advertisement.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, and if they do disclose that information, it's like super small, and it's saying, oh, by the way, we're a minority stakeholder at LVMH. Like, that's what they fucking did with the Tiffany piece.
Yeah, but we also take a shot at them because they're the biggest.
They're the
guys.
biggest publication.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think all of us are guilty of it, to be honest.
So do you see Revolution? Because I know that there used to be more editions, and I think they've trimmed down.
They have trimmed down. Yeah, they had a Swiss edition. They had a Hong Kong edition. They had a China edition. I think that combined into one Asia edition to be more efficient. And of course, as they were saying, print is dying, and the cost of print is still a lot. Digital is not as lot as print. So cost of paper is hard. Then you have to mail these things, and then you have to put them in the airport lounges and all the stuff. So if you consolidate, be smart. Asia edition is one. You've got Italian edition. You've got US edition, and then Latin America and Mexico.
Do you see it going fully digital at some point? Or?
It's possible. Anything is possible. But I think the romance of Revolution is in the magazine.
Yeah.
So I don't see it. I don't see it. At least not in the near future, I would say.
Let's hope so. I mean, there's so few publications that are print. And as far as this hobby is concerned, Revolution, I think, is one of. I think it's the best.
For me, it's the best
physical print publication, just because it's authentic.
It's not full of ads. It's actually
No,
No
it's not.
ads.
That's the best
Content,
part about
yeah.
it. It's like you fucking read like a 3-page story. You're not gonna find an ad for like Breitling.
No.
So what I've noticed, a common thread with what you've done in your journalistic or blogistic career is always
writing
follow
career.
your
Yeah.
writing career. Your writing career is always follow your passion. So
Yep.
what is still passionate to you about the watch industry?
First, of course, the watches. That's you can't have the passion without. When you look at some watches, it draws certain emotions. Then you think about a different angle is who made that watch. For example, Kudoke. I love the Kudoke family. Stefan and Eve are awesome people. And you talk about, it becomes almost you want to buy their watch because you like them. Then watches are number one. And then you have other people like you guys. We make connection on watches and we hang out.
Community.
That became the community. The community is a huge part of it. Hanging out with Peter for breakfast and talking watches. That's
The Sunday tradition.
exactly. And these are things that that makes it special. Nothing else. I think if you talk about what they do in the factory, the brands want to tell you how they're passionate about making watches. Not as influencing on me. That's great. I'm glad you have the machines to make the watches, but
It's the people.
it's the people. What they think about it. How did they come up with the idea of this Kudoke 2? How did you think about this thing? Those are the things that makes it special.
See, that's what I'm about, man. Like nowadays, everyone want to talk, like spec sheets. It's all spec sheets. It's
Right.
like, oh, cool, man. Like that's cool. I mean, to me, that's where it ends. Like that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the people that I got
Yeah.
to meet, the people that I have yet to meet, the people that
Yeah,
I'm
people's huge.
still in talking to are a big part of the reason that I'm still into collecting. As much as I dislike the hobby, it's the people that keep bringing me back. I mean, like for example, this podcast actually was birthed off me having met Brendan only one day.
Yeah.
Really?
Our connection, we were just on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
It felt like he's my cousin,
No.
brother.
Yeah.
We were
We're
he
like
was brought
finishing-
over by Steven Lee
Dufresne.
from
Yeah,
Dufresne.
of course.
Because he finally got a Rolex, so I guess Steven was like, "Oh, I could bring him in." And so we were at the meeting for our watch group, and we went to dinner like the same day with Josh and Saul, and we were just having a back and forth with this guy who we've never met till that day, and he was like, "Oh, we should do a podcast," and boom,
Did it.
a couple of months later, we did the podcast, and it's the people. Like if people were so obsessive about stat sheets, about the numbers, about the little minuscule things that doesn't really matter, you lose track and lose sight of what you're supposed to be kind of celebrating the hobby for.
That's how you keep the passion, yeah. Friendships, watches, couple of beers,
That's
some
right.
coffees. Yeah.
Stories to tell. and
Stories to tell.
Emotions to feel. from
Unbannings in watch you
Unbanning.
see.
But if I have a couple of minutes, let me tell you a very funny story.
Yes,
please.
of
Since
course.
we
Please.
mentioned Kudoke.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with my other Kudoke with the Pilot watch.
Yep.
So what happened was I went to pick it up. This was 2020. It was 2021. No, it was 2020. End of 2020. I think. Yeah. So it was full
Pandemics.
pandemic. I went visiting Prague to family and took the train because my wife was not feeling well. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just take the train by myself to Dresden, meet with Stefan and Ev. Went there for lunch. Nobody in the train. Absolutely zero people in the whole compartment. So I kept my stuff in the front pocket. Got off the train. Walked up to the restaurant. And this was on a Friday, and Sunday we were flying back to US. And so I was like, where the fuck is my passport? I was like, shit. Now I remember I was talking to Eva on the phone while I was getting off the train. I left it in the front pocket of the train. And train was going to Berlin, and then from there it was going to... So I was like, what the fuck do I do? So even Stefan, they said, forget the lunch. Let's go to the railway station together. We went to the train station to hop on off. And they talked to the guys and they're like, please get this guy's passport, contact somebody on the train. They said, yes, we have found this passport, but we have given when we are stopping in Berlin, we're gonna give it to the police, and you have to go to the police and get your passport. I was like, don't worry. I took the train to Berlin. Now it's afternoon, and went there. I reached there around 5 p.m. Went to the police. They said, you made it by 1 minute. We were going to close at 5. You made it at 4:59, and I got my passport.
You got it?
Them.
Oh my god!
I got my passport from them, and I was like, okay, let me look at the next train to take me back to Prague. I can just be back. Well, the last train left at 5. And my wife would kill me if I didn't come back home that day. I was like, okay, I found a student bus that was leaving at 7 o'clock and would arrive at like 11:59 in Prague. I got onto it. I got my backpack, had my kudoke on, and got on to the student bus with the students.
See, when I find myself in a student population, you just got to blend in and say, don't you just hate finals?
Oh man, we did that. We did that.
Okay, let me just describe the students. These are all hot Czech girls, students who are on the bus.
So this is a good accident for you.
This is like, one of those Euro trip movies. You're like, holy fuck.
That's so good. See, and that's the story that you will never find out if you only cared about what's on the wrist.
spec sheet.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And
dude, that's such a funny story.
I was looking at the watch the whole time. I was enjoying. I was laughing. So reached home at 11:59, and
that's the memory that's stuck with the watch. That's the whole notion of it. It's like it's what you tie in.
But it's also how even Stefan always are first to help you, and that's the key. They could have just said, you're stupid. You kind of messed up, and you
they're concerned for you.
Yeah,
they made sure I got home. Until I got home to Prague, they kept calling me. They're like, you're okay, you need any help, we'll come and help you.
That's awesome.
That's a great story.
See, that's friends you make.
Yeah,
that's the friends you make. See, that's my Brendan. I would hope you would.
I would put you on a train full of co-eds.
I would do the same for you.
I'd do the same for you, man.
And to make the matters worse, I took a trip with Andra to Glashute last year in 2021 in summer to visit Glashute Original. In fact, we saw this watch there for the first time, and also something weird happened at that time. And guess who were there to help us? Stefan and Eve.
Again.
It was pouring rain. It was midnight and pouring rain, and they were helping us.
The run back. Hey, these guys, Kudoke, you guys
solid.
are some fucking real ones.
You're awesome.
Solid.
You guys are awesome.
I think I'm going to buy a watch from you, too.
Yeah, I would like to. Brendan's trying to buy a watch just for the co-eds.
Yeah. Yeah, they're my new friends,
How active are you in the collecting journey still, up to this point?
I would say I'm at the peak and relaxed. As you know, Jay, I sold most of my watches.
Yeah.
And those were not for Langewan. This was after Langewan. I came to a point where I did too much. I had way too many watches, and I was like, you know what? I'm happy to sell them to friends, and I'm going to keep maybe 10 watches, and that's it. So right now I'm under 10 watches, and I don't count the FliegerFridays. Those have a special box because, that's something you work towards, and so they have like FliegerFriday box, and they stay in there, but
that's the loophole box.
But under
throw
10.
anything under there.
It's a FliegerFriday.
Yeah, it's I thought about even giving these away, and but no, I'll keep them.
That's awesome.
But
that's fantastic.
Under 10 watches now.
Excluding the FliegerFridays.
Excluding the FliegerFridays,
yes.
But Nuke cracks me up. So out of your entire collection, minus the Longa one, what do you wear the most? Or like the most?
I would say right now, if you ask, it's a matter of right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing Hovering the most because it's super light, legible, and I can wear it every day watch. It's like a pilot watch pretty much.
Yeah.
It's super light. I like wearing Hovering, but I actually now, because it's under 10, I wear everything. I wear the Breitling. Now I'm wearing the Kudoke. Lately it's only been Kudoke since last week.
Oh man, I'd be hard pressed.
And yeah, just the rest of the watches.
So do you have any other for the future plans to purchase anything new after having gotten the longer one. I mean, that was your holy grail. Is it still your holy grail, or do you have a new one?
No, I don't have a holy grail anymore. I think for me that was the best thing to achieve. That I wanted that watch because of this. What I thought about it. It's a very anti-hype watch. Nobody is going on to running out and saying I want to buy a longer one. So there's no hype associated with that. You can buy it very easily. You can go to a store and buy it. No, there's no more hype watch left for me. I think if I ever buy a watch, I would definitely buy a watch, but it would have to really, 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 really convince me that I want to buy this.
What is it about Fliegers that you...
I love Flieger watches, and I think it had to do first with What You Seek forums, because we were participating in the Flieger forums. The legibility, the kind of history behind pilot watches, the way they were used. It's kind of a macho thing that they were used in military for navigation and for of course Flieger chronographs for a different matter.
Wow.
Well, that was a lovely
experience.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Bhanu.
No, thank you for having me. I think we need to have more down-to-earth shows like this. You can have a high production Hodinkee type of shows, or even others who have podcasts and live shows, but you need to keep it real a little bit. There's too much of fluff is going on, too much of plugging in going on. Sometimes you just need to take a break from it and say, you know what, let's tell things like it is. It's a shitty market right now because it's all full of money. And when everything comes down to reality, the true fans will stay.
Yeah, we're here to
We're
stay.
here.
That's right.
We will stay.
Yeah, as much as I want to leave the hobby, I have
we will
not
stay.
been successful at leaving it, and I'm here.
Yeah, you're strapped in.
Strapped in for the ride. But yeah, Bhanu, once again, we appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Thank you so much for coming by.
And
Absolutely.
guys,
Thank you for the beer.
If you want to check out Bhanu, buy fucking Revolution.
Yeah.
I've read back to back stories and articles written by him. Actually, take a moment to disconnect from the internet.
Yeah.
Sit down
Go in your
outside.
backyard and read.
If you don't have a backyard, sit anywhere,
On a
man.
porch
On
or
your
coffee
porch, on your
shop,
patio, or anywhere. Disconnect.
Or just go to Barnes and Noble, have a coffee, and
They have Revolution there.
They have Revolution. You can
There
just
you
read
go.
it there, man.
Yeah,
there you
and
go.
it's free.
You can
That one is
freeload.
free.
That one's free. That's the free edition.
We keeps it real.
Yeah.
Hey, we have done that, man. We know.
done
Yeah. Thanks, Barnes and Nobles, for sponsoring this
episode.
episode.
And also, shout out to Revolution for also sponsoring us by letting us borrow Bhanu.
Yeah. Thank you. What's our ASMR that we're going to close off
Oh man,
with?
I don't even know. I was so caught in conversation, man.
Still have the Formex? Get the Formex.
You're gonna. Also found out that Bhanu is good friends with Raf.
Yes.
From Formex, which Raf, 2 episodes, I guess, with you shouted out.
There's something going on there,
Something's
right?
going on. What's
Yeah.
going
Universe
on here?
is telling us something.
Yeah. And you know what? Another sponsor of this episode, Formex.
Formex. Well, here it is.
Here's
the
ASMR.
bezel click off their reef.
You got it? Slower. Don't jackhammer.
I like jackhammer.
It's nice. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. And again, we'll see you next time.